Alright guys, welcome back. This is the Inside XO English Town. So what I do in here is try to read some articles or try to read a novel so that we could somehow enjoy the reading for the English. This is very important for learning a language because you have to find the beauty of it. Otherwise, you couldn't put any effort into it. One summer day in Fog Creek, this is a place, Pennsylvania, a mystery tree house appeared in the woods. So in this story, there has two persons. One is a boy, another is a girl. What they do is to go to the woods and find the magic tree. The magic tree is made by wood and it's on the top of a tree. Inside of that house, that magic tree house, it has a lot of books where the two guys, the boy and the girl, could let's say read whatever book they want. And the one thing magic about it is that if they wanted to go into the world, the books they are reading, they could. 8-year-old Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the tree house. The tree house was filled with books and it was magic. It could go any place that was in a book. All Jack and Annie had to do was to point to a picture and wish to go there. They visited dinosaurs, knights, an Egyptian queen, pirates, ninjas, and the Amazon rainforest. Along the way, they discovered that the tree house belonged to Morgan Le Fay. This is a name of a person. Morgan was a magical librarian from the time of King Arthur. She traveled through time and space, gathering books for her library. So for this person, Morgan, he's the owner or manager of a library.
Librarian.
And what she do is manage the library and bring some new books into her library. In other words, she collects books. One day, Jack and Annie found a note that said Morgan was under a spell. Jack and Annie set out in the magic tree house to find 4 special things that would free her. So Jack and Annie found that the Morgan is in danger. So that Jack and Annie had to find 4 special things to rescue the Morgan. With the help of a mouse named Kenneth, Jack and Annie found the first thing in old Japan, the second in the Amazon rainforest, and the third in the Ice Age. Now, Jack, Annie, and Kenneth are ready to find the last thing in the midnight on the moon. One summer day in Fog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mystery tree house appeared in the woods. Well, I think we just read that before. Then we're gonna read this one. Jake whispered a voice. Jack opened his eyes. He saw a figure in the moonlight. Wake up, get dressed. It was his sister Annie. Jack turned on his lamp. He rubbed his eyes. So in other words, Jack turns on the light. Annie was standing beside his bed. She wore jeans and a sweatshirt.
Jeans.
Let's go to the tree house, she said. What time is it? Asked Jack. He put on his glasses. Don't look at your clock, said Annie. Jack looked at his clock. Oh man, he said. It's midnight. It's too dark outside. No, it isn't. The moon makes it bright enough to see for us, said Annie. Wait till tomorrow, said Jack. No, now, said Annie. We have to find the 4th end thing. I have a feeling that the full moon might help us. That's nuts, said Jack. I want to sleep. You can sleep when you come back home, said Annie. No time will have passed. Jack seemed, oh brother, he said. But he got out of bed. Yo, whispered Annie. Meet you at the back door.
Tiptoed.
She tiptoed out of Jack's room.
Yawned.
Jack yawned. He put on his jeans and sneakers and a sweatshirt.
Sneakers.
He put his notebook and pencil into his backpack. Then he crept down the stairs. Annie opened the back door quietly. They stepped outside. Wait, said Jack. We need a flashlight. No, we don't. I told you. The moon will net our way, said Annie, and she took off. Jack signed, then followed her. Annie was right to Jack. The moon was so bright that he could see his shadow. Everything seemed wedged with silver. Soon they left the streets. Annie led the way into the Fog Creek woods. It was much darker under the shadows of the trees. Jack looked up, searching for the magic tree house. There, said Annie. The magic tree house was shining in the moonlight. Annie grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing up. Careful, go slowly, said Jack. He followed her up the ladder and into the tree house. So here you can see a picture where Annie and Jack was trying to climb up to the magic tree treehouse. And of course, all those scenes are happening under the moonlight. Moonlight streamed through the window.
Shone.
It shone on the letter M that shimmered on the wood floor.
Shimmered.
It shone on the three N scenes that rested on the N. A moonstone from the town of the ninjas, a mango from the Amazon rainforest,
Mammoth.
and a mammoth bone from the Ice Age. We need just one more M scene, said Annie, so that we could free Morgan from his or from her spell.
Squeak.
Squeak. Panic, said Annie. In the dim night, Jack saw a tiny mouse. She sat on the open book. You didn't expect to see us this late, did you? Said Annie. She picked up Panic, and Jack picked up the open book. So where are we going this time? Annie asked him. Jack held the book up to the moonlight. Oh, he said. I knew we should have brought a flashlight. I can't read a scene. He could make out diagrams and shoddy pictures, but he couldn't read a word. Look at the cover, said Annie. The letters were bigger on the cover.
Squinted.
Jack squinted at them. It's called a Hanno Moon, he said. Annie grasped. We're going to the moon? Of course not, said Jack. It's impossible to go to the moon without tons of equipment. Why? There's no air. We couldn't breathe. Not only that, we would boil to death if it was day, and freeze to death if it was night. Yeah, said Annie. So where do you think we're going? Maybe a place where people run to be, or where people train to be astronauts. Astronauts, said Jack. That sounds neat, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. He would always wanted to meet astronauts and space scientists. So say the wish, said Annie. Jack opened the book again. He pointed to a picture of a dome-shaped structure. I wish we could go there, he said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster and faster. Then everything was silent, absolutely silent, as quiet and still as silence could be. Jack opened his eyes. He looked out of the window. The treehouse had landed inside a large white room. What kind of training place is this? Asked Annie. I don't know, said Jack. The moon was round. It had no windows. It had white floors and a curved wall lit by bright lights. Hello, Annie called. There was no answer. Where were all the astronauts and space scientists? Jack wondered. There's nobody here, said Annie. How do you know? Said Jack. I just feel it, said Annie. We'd better find out where we are, said Jack. He looked at the page in the moon book. He read the words below the picture of the dome. A moon base was built on the moon in the year 2031. The top of the dome slats open to let spacecrafts enter and leave. Oh man, Jack whispered. What's wrong? Said Annie. Jack's heart pounded with excitement. He could hardly speak. We have landed inside a moon base, he said. So, said Annie. So the moon base is on the moon, said Jack. Annie's eyes wandered. We're on the moon? She asked. Jack nodded. The book says the moon base was built in the year 2031, he said. So this book was written after that, which means this book is from the future. Oh wow, said Annie. Morgan must have gone forward in time to borrow it from a future library. Right, said Jack. And now we are in the future, on the moon.
Squeak.
Squeak, squeak. Annie and Jack looked at the planet. The mouse was running around in circles. Or planet, said Annie. Or peanuts.
Peanut.
She tried to pick the mouse up, but Peanut hid behind the mango on the letter M. Maybe she's nervous about being on the moon, said Annie. She's not the only one, said Jack. He let out a deep breath. Then he pushed his glasses into place. So what's a moon base? Said Annie. Jack looked at the book. He read aloud. When scientists visit the moon for short periods, they eat and sleep in the moon base. A space mental, said Annie. I guess, said Jack. He read more. The small base has a landing chamber and a room for storing space suits. Air and temperature controls make breathing possible. So what is that place? It's a place where people could live even they're on the moon. So that's why we can breathe, Jack said. Let's explore, said Annie. We had to find the 4 scenes for Morgan. No, first we should study this map, said Jack. He pulled out his notebook. You study it, said Annie. Jack copied the map. Then he drew in the treehouse. So from here you could see the treehouse is inside of a container. So that's why they could still be able to breathe under the moon or at the moon. Okay, he said. He pointed at the X in his drawing. We are here. Jack looked up. Annie was gone. Oh, brother, Jack said. As usual, she had left without him. Before they could even make a plan, Jack put the Moon book and pencil into his pack, carrying his notebook and backpack. He started out the window. Scrag, scrag. Jack looked back at the peanuts. The mouse was running back and forth on the end. Stay here and be safe, said Jack. We'll be back soon.
Swung.
Jack swung himself over the window sill. His feet touched the floor of the landing chamber. Annie, he called. There was no answer. Jack looked at his diagram. It showed only one way to go. Jack walked along the curved white wall to the stars. He climbed the steps to a hallway. Jack, hurry. Annie was at the end of the hallway. So what is a hallway? It is a path that you could go. It only have the entries and the end of that entry. So it's kind of like a pipeline, something like that. And the Annie is standing in the airlock here. He peered out a window in a giant door. Jack hurried toward her. Annie stepped aside so he could look out the window too. Oh man, said Jack. What he saw took his breath away. He stared at a rocky gray land. The land was filled with giant craters and tall mountains. The sun was shining, but the sky was ink black. Say hi to the moon, Annie said softly. The fourth in scene must be out there, said Annie. Beside the door was a button with a word open on it. Annie reached for the button. Wait, Jack grabbed her hand. There's no air on the moon, remember? Oh, right. But we have to go out to find the end scene. Let's say what the book says, said Jack. He pulled the book out of his pack. He flipped through it until he found a page that showed the surface of the moon. He read aloud. It takes 14 Earth days to equal 1 day on the moon. No air protects the moon from the sun's rays, so daytime heat reaches 260 degrees. Jack looked at Annie. I told you our body would boil if we went out there, he said. Yes. Jack read from his book again. Moon scientists wear some suits which have the controls to keep them from getting too hot or too cold. They have tanks which provide air for 2 hours. Well, so basically, so far we could know that the two boys or two child, the Jack and Annie, what they do is to put the astronauts shots on. Then they would definitely go out because that's their nature. They want to do some explorations. Here we go. You could see a picture of them. The first interesting scene the two young children met is that they could bound it up and down like a rabbit in the moon because on the moon there has a lower gravity. And then they see an American flag. Why? Because it is the American who probably be the first one who put their flag on the moon or at the moon. Okay, then somehow they met a guy on the moon and this astronaut wrote some stars on the Jack's notebook, and the shape for that driving is kind of like the N. So that's probably the fourth N that Jack and Annie was trying to looking for at the first place, so that they got what they wanted, and they somehow came back to the magic tree house. Well, but in the end, they found that if they collect those stars by using a pencil, then the shape would be just like a mouse. So they found out the fourth thing they are looking for is a mouse. So they put the four end scenes together. Suddenly, a bright light filled the treehouse. The night got brighter and brighter and brighter. The brightness was blending and
whirling.
The air spun with brightness. Then everything was clear. Panicked, the mouse was gone, and Morgan stood before Jack and Annie. Did you remember the Morgan? It's a library of the it's the library manager of that magic house tree. Which is this person? Thank you, Morgan said softly. You have freed me from the magician's spell. And then the Morgan said she was just the mouse. Then who turned you into a mouse? Said Annie. Morgan frowned. A certain person who likes to play tricks on me, she said. His name is Merlin. Merlin, said Jack, the greatest magician who ever lived. Morgan laughed. He's not the greatest, she said. He doesn't even know I have two brave friends who would would help me. Us, said Annie, shining. Morgan nodded. And I thank you both with all my heart. You're welcome, said Jack and Annie. So in the end, the Jack and Annie come back to his home or their home and said goodnight to each other. Then that night is over. So this is just one adventure for the two young child. You know what? For someone who is looking for a good English book for their children, I would definitely recommend the Magic Tree House because the words they are using is simple and the stories they are telling you is, let's say, very interesting. It's very interesting, and even for an adult like me could also find the funny part of it. So it has attractions to people. Okay, that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.